Right, I'm going to attempt to install this this electric gate kit. I've just opened it, taken out the box, and it's got a control unit, a couple of key fobs, some sort of flashlight, I guess, to warn when the gates are in operation. A bunch of brackets in there. I've not opened that yet, as you can see, and the main units, which are one for each door. Never done anything like this before, so this is a very much a DIY amateur type installation. So if I'm doing something wrong, I have done something wrong, please do point it out. I'm installing it in the following location. So these are the gates that will hopefully be powered by the arms. They're kind of hefty units, but I've checked the rating. Apparently the arms will do something way bigger and heavier than this, so should be no problem at all. These are steel gates with wooden inserts. They're not light by any measure, but still easily manageable by the arms that I've purchased. So the way I'm doing it, the control box will be here on the side, on the wall. Wiring is going to go all the way around the back, down here, all the way along back through into that unit there, which is a garage, and I'll power it from there. So I think the first thing I'll do, I'll get the unit marked up on the wall and screwed in. I'll then lay the wire. That'll need a feed from in there, and I may well need to get some help to do that, but I'll keep you updated with progress. So I'm hoping to get most of it done today. I'll film it in part as I proceed through each major stage, and see how I get on. Okay, so I've opened up the box. Looks pretty straightforward. You've got your main power coming into here, and here at the bottom where you connect up all the you connect up the arms, you connect up your lamp and the photocell device, which is used to detect if anything is in the way of the gate when it's in operation. It's got a nice little diagram here actually, telling you exactly what can be connected and how it all connects up. So hopefully it'll be pretty straightforward. So let's get to getting on the wall. Right, so I've marked my 4 dots. Here, and here. So it's just a matter of drilling them out and getting the unit onto the wall. Right, just about got the unit wired in. Got the armour cable running up to here. I need to tidy this up a little bit. You can see the bits of the armour cable, metal protection coating hanging out. I'm going to tidy that up. If you've never worked with armour cable, oh my god, it's the worst thing ever. It's really difficult to move around, it's difficult to bend, it's difficult to do just about everything with. Cut it, wire it, whatever. I'm sure for those electricians listening to this, they're thinking, are you kidding, it's straightforward, but for me, an amateur, definitely difficult. Anyway, it's in, needs tidying up a little bit. I need to secure this in, and then I get to wiring the rest of it. You might be wondering, why did I mount this so high up in the air? It doesn't need to be this high. The instructions say 1 meter. I think that's just to avoid risk of flooding and things like that, and the effect of flooding on the electric unit. But I've done it about 1.5 meters, and I've done that because well, it's actually about 1.20 meters. I've done it so that I can work on it easy enough rather than have to bend down and try and get the wiring in. And why not? I don't think there's any reason why I shouldn't. Alright, on to the next stage, tidy up the wiring and get it all closed up. Well, I'll get the electric arms installed and get the wires from the actuator up through here into here. Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, so I've installed one of the arms. I'm a bit confused because this piece here, this bracket that I've installed here, is for push only, and that means where the gates open outwards. My gates are opening inwards. Now, there is a smaller piece, which is the one on the floor there, which I should have installed. The reason I've installed a bigger one is because my gates have this peculiar setup where you've got the post here, this thing here, on the inside of the wall, rather than, if you can see, they should actually be on the outside there. But because they're installed on the inside of the wall, you've got this massive chunk here to take into account. If I were to put the smaller arm on, this one provided, let me just give you a view on that. This one provided, the arm, this thing, would come to here, which means it would actually hit the gate. So I put the longer arm on. I'm going to test it, see if it works. As I say, it's meant for push only rather than pull. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I guess worst case scenario, what I'll do if this doesn't work, I'll build a block here, a steel bracket, and I'll install the shorter arm from this point. But really, it should do exactly the same thing, because the whole point is to bring it out to this point. Let's see. Well, I've done that. Now I'm just going to, for now, I'll get the wire in up to the box here. Once we've got the wire in, what I might actually do is test it with one gate and see if it works, and then if it does, I'll continue the wiring for the other gate. Okay, catch you in a minute. Right, I'm having a bit of a problem here, to be honest. The wiring's a pain. It's hard to get you have to take the circuit board out to put these wires in, and then when you do, it's fiddly to get the whole thing back in. So what I've done, firstly, I've replaced this. This was an armoured cable. It's so difficult to move the armoured cable around when you got this in, so I replaced it with a standard cable. And I'll come on to how that's all going to link into the mains in a minute. And all these cables here I've wired in. Now, just so that you know, if you do buy this package, here are a couple of issues that you're going to face. The other arm, so I've got one arm in, as you know, the other arm isn't in. To get to the other arm, the wire supplied with the actuator will not even get you close to back to this unit. It has to stretch from the other side, over there, back all the way down here, up here, into here. Now the cable is about 1.5 meters that's attached to it, maybe even less, I don't really know. Certainly not 3 or 4 meters what you're going to need. So what you're going to have to do is extend the wiring. So what I'm going to do on the other side, I'm going to put I'm going to attach an arm on the other side, some to this. I'm going to put a terminal box on the wall, wire it from the arm to a terminal box on the wall, and from the terminal box I'll stick a wire under the ground, going all the way along and back up here. So I've put the wiring for the time being. I'm going to have to buy some, the cable is a 5-core cable, so you're going to have to buy some 5-core cable to do that, because it doesn't come with it. The other thing is, if you've got the photocell, which is the unit which allows you to detect if anything's in the way of the gate, just for safety reasons, it's wired in here already, I've wired it in, but the photocell requires a 4-core wire, which again doesn't come with it. In fact, the photocell has no wire with it, so that's a bit of a pain. So I'm going to have to buy some 4-core wire. What I've done a temporary fix using 2-core wire, and it's a bad way of doing it, but it'll work for now, and I'll replace it when the cable comes through. Luckily Amazon have next day delivery, so I've got that coming tomorrow. That should sort that. So here's what I'm doing. These wires coming out of here are going into a terminal box here on the wall. I'm going to close up this unit, and then I can manage the rest from the terminal box. This wire, which is the mains power cable, will again go into the terminal box, and it will connect in the terminal box up to the armoured cable. So let me get on with that. I mean, I know some people will be saying, no, the mains power cable should not be broken, should be going direct to this unit up to here. That's fine, but it's going to be a pain. And everything coming out of here, by the way, is all DC. AC going in, DC coming out, and the motors themselves are 30-watt motors, I believe, which is a tiny bit of power. Quite frankly, I've done stronger farts than that, so that's not really going to be a problem. But let me get the terminal box in, this one here, and let's see what it looks like then. Okay. Here's a quick update. What we've got is an arm installed. Pretty much as per the specification, but as I mentioned earlier, this being away from the wall has presented a bit of a challenge, because it meant I've had to use brackets which were intended for push only and not pull, and this pulls the door in rather than pushes it out. What that ultimately means, I don't know, but I think I know. There's too much movement. So this gate at the moment linked up, it's only one arm, it does work. I press the button, it opens and it closes, but it all shakes. The gate as it opens is quite a heavy gate, and when it stops, this whole mechanism here shakes, and you can see there's movement in it, quite a bit of movement. I've secured it to the wall with anchor bolts, but the bracket itself is pretty poor. You'll see it comes with, it has 2 holes in it, and it's not really adequate for what this is meant to do. And I'm even convinced that if I was to put the bracket, which is meant for pull, which is a bit shorter, it's about that length, I'd still ultimately have the same problem. So I'm of the thinking just for the sake of making this secure and give it a longer life, to build my own bracket. Not entirely sure how I'm going to do that right now, but I'm looking into it. So watch this space. I'm going to go away and have a look, and I'll be back. This bracket that I didn't like too much because it's has too much movement in it, I've now replaced. I haven't replaced it. I've created a new one for the other side, and I will replace this one too. But it looks a little like this. As you can see, that's the one I've created. I've used this top piece here, the same as the other side. But what I've done, I've just made it a lot heftier. Used a bit of box section and created some sort of. Well, I'm no fabricator, but I think it's a lot better than what's on the other side, and I can see there's no movement in this now. So hopefully, once the electrics are plugged up on this side, I'll test them both and see if there's any marked improvement. So yeah, back in a minute. Okay then, this is my final video. I've completed my installation. It's a bit of a custom installation, as you're probably aware from all the previous bits that I've sort of shown so far. Okay, so here we've got a very cheap and quick plastic shelter. It's not necessary, it's just my preference. It's rained a few days and the thing is soaked in water, and I just felt this would be an additional level of water proofing. So what have I done custom? Okay, firstly I stuck a little light on here. This little light is an LED showing that the system is on. It's just, for me, useful to know it is actually switched on. I've put an outdoor isolator here. If I ever want to turn the system off, I can do so from here. This is standard, though probably not installed standardly. It should have been up there somewhere, but hey, it works. This is where my electrics come into, and you can see it wide down there. Right, what else is custom? These brackets. I've custom made these brackets. They're much more heftier than the ones it comes with. The ones it came with just were too flimsy. It bounced around as the gates open and close. Okay, long story short, gates are installed, actuator's working. I've got a little remote here, as you'll see. If I press, I have some tidying up of the wires to do, and we've got to knock out some bricks and bury the cable. At the moment it's in a plastic, this plastic trunking. Obviously a trunking is designed to be driven over, so that's absolutely fine, but it looks a bit nasty and it will go into the ground. Bear in mind, anything running from this side across to that side is DC, 24 volt DC, so it isn't dangerous anyway. Let me just close up the gates again. Overall, pretty straightforward to install. Did have some niggly bits, as I say, the brackets I had to make because I wasn't happy with them. Getting the gates to line up so they shut exactly right was a bit of fine tuning. Nothing beyond the capabilities of the average DIYer, and you can see the gates closed just right. Couple of points to note: when the gates do close, there's some movement in them. I can move them back and forth a little bit. If somebody wanted to squeeze through them, push them open a little bit, they possibly could. You need to get an additional lock, which is electronically controlled, if you want the gates to lock. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You're welcome to forward me any questions you might have. You know, there's some challenges there to overcome with the wiring and so on, and I could save you a bit of bother if you email me any specific questions, or obviously comment on the YouTube video. That's all there is to know, really. The system came with a couple of these controllers. Oh, there's one more thing which is a useful piece of information. The controller itself, this thing, does work from quite a distance. Now, why is that handy? Well, if you're driving to the house, and you'll probably know from all the noise outside, my road's a busy road, so you don't want to be pulling up outside and waiting for the gates to open. You want to be able to press the button and the gates to open from a distance. As soon as you arrive, you drive in, which I can do. I mean, at the moment I'm probably about I would say 10 meters away from my gate. If I continue into my house, from here, this is about 25 meters away, possibly slightly more, and it works absolutely fine from here. If I press the button, and there we go, gates are starting to move. Stop them there.